Chris Tyson just did an interview addressing the entire situation of him coming out as transgender. See, since announcing him being on hormone replacement therapy the other day, everyone has wanted a response from Chris, and despite him answering questions on his Snapchat story, he hasn't done an interview until now. One of the first things that Chris ended up addressing was his fear of actually coming out publicly and what everyone would say to him.
A lot of people were forcing me to speed run learning about myself. I didn't know I was going to have to do it so fast, but I knew I was going to have to do it publicly. You know, in the early years, it was like I was scared of, like, I grew up in the South. Like, what is everybody going to think when I come out as, like, you know, on HRT?
It also seems like Chris has felt pressured even by the people that lived around him, but fans are saying the fact that he had the courage to come out publicly was a huge step within itself. But then Chris actually announced that it was the whole plan to come out at some point anyway, using Mr. Beast as a way to do so.
But, like, after I got, you know, the whole Mr. Beast gig, for a while, I was like, oh, you know, like, maybe this is my way to get, like, support and I can come out one day.
Of course, this decision was still met with a ton of controversy, though, with people hating on Chris because of this, pointing out that it's completely unfair on his ex-wife, Katie, if Chris actually did have those plans all along, and are also saying for them to have a kid makes it even worse. Despite this hate, though, they do actually seem to be making the best of their situation, meeting up for lunch occasionally, and both being good parents for their child, Tucker. In an interview, Chris would also talk about the accusations of Mr. Beast being supposedly uncomfortable around Chris.
Like, for instance, we'll do an hour-and-a-half long live stream on Mr. Beast. They'll find one time where Jimmy isn't just explicitly smiling, and then all of a sudden he's uncomfortable.
This now seems to 100% confirm that Mr. Beast has been supportive of Chris all along, with people now saying things like "I told you so" to the haters, bringing up Mr. Beast saying, quote, "Chris isn't my nightmare, he's my effing friend, and things are fine. All this transphobia is starting to piss me off." This was followed by Chris announcing that Jimmy had actually known for over 7 years and was completely chill with it.
I mean, Jimmy's known it since we were in college together. He's like, I don't care, just like whenever it becomes a thing, just let me know.
However, Chris would then actually go on to address where everything actually started, going into detail.
It started when I was younger. Like, as a kid, I've always been obsessed with fashion, and, like, you know, like when I got pushed back into the closet by myself, like, I just wore jeans and t-shirts because
in the closet's where you found all that fashion.
I did find, but it was actually my sister's closet. So
despite all of this, Chris claims that even from such a young age, he knew that he had to keep quiet because of growing up around religion. People are saying that because of Chris hiding himself for such a long time, the reason that he actually gets along with Carl so well is because he's asexual and may actually understand what Chris has been going through all these years. Chris also announced how his gender curiosity was revealed to his parents when one of his friends' phones was taken, which had messages of Chris talking about it.
One day her mom took her phone and read through her phone and found out everything about me. And, you know, a parent being a parent felt the need to, like, disclose that information, and it had, you know, a lot of falling out, and that drove me back into the closet really hard.
And because of Chris feeling this way the entire time, everyone basically denied that the Carl effect was a real thing until one of Carl's friends, Sapnap, said this.
I mean, the first time I ever hung out with Carl Jacobs, he convinced me to paint my nails, so...
That's actually true.
That is, like, true.
And then this happened.
We're just testing the Carl effect.
Although they were all just joking around about the Carl effect, people are actually shocked that Chris actually kissed Carl, with some saying that it was just for the thumbnail and others saying that the rumors were true all along. Chris would also then go on to explain how he met Mr. Beast in the first place, saying how he was originally in a class with Jimmy's brother, Mr. Bro, and then actually had to move into a more common class with Jimmy himself. He also ended up talking about the progression of the Mr. Beast channel, explaining how early videos on the channel were of Jimmy playing a boat game that he would spend hours dedicating his life to, just like he spent hours analyzing YouTube, where he actually led to his success. But if you still support Mr. Beast,